Hello, everyone. I'm going to wait for Carolyn to hop on. Hopefully we can get her onto this call. We're having some... Yes. Okay, here we go. Hello.
Hello.
Did it. This is like the year of all the technicalities. Like everybody's learning curve. Zoom.
I know.
Instagram Live, but we're doing it. We're here.
I made it.
We made it. I love how we just quickly mitigated that situation.
I know. Thank you.
It's good to see you.
Yeah, it's nice to see you.
So do you want to, I see some people hopping on, and do you want to just give a quick intro of yourself and kind of the, your background and what you do?
Sure.
So we can get started then anyways.
Yeah. I see a bunch of my friends signing on, so it's kind of fun.
Nice.
Let's see. Well, hi, I'm Carolyn Box. I am an ocean conservation consultant, and that means that I work in the ocean conservation field. I work on a number of different projects. I have a background that's mostly focused on ocean work. I've had a range of different types of projects. My career started out as a geologist at UC Santa Cruz, is where I went to college. And it was there that I realized I wanted to add some like action into my sort of career or my path. And I can go into that in a little while. But from there, I went to grad school for coastal management. So it was more the policy, taking the science and turning it into action. And so that took me to the East Coast, and then I came back and worked a bit in San Francisco Bay on sediment management. And then most recently, for the bulk of my career, I've been focusing on plastic pollution in our oceans. So close to 10 years on that. And most recently, I am working as an independent. I also have a small business called Goods Holding Company. So it's a plastic-free lifestyle company. And I'm going to also talk about a new program that Rachel here helped me design. So I'm excited for this interview, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm excited. I know you just shared kind of your update with everybody on your own profile on Instagram and got a lot of positive feedback. So
I did.
This will be a cool way for you to kind of go into more depth. I'll give a quick intro to me too. So
Yeah.
People hopping on I see are probably people you're friends with or networked with. I am a positive psychology coach. I help individuals kind of align their passions, interests, and strengths into the work they do, so that whether that's a project, a program, a small business, so anything where people maybe want to make that small change or career shift. And I help them kind of take things from that idea stage to getting started and making it a reality. And Carolyn and I know each other funny enough through Crystal Ambrose. Hopefully I will be able to get her on here next month. I think she is busy working her butt off with her PhD.
Awesome.
But we connected through Carolyn with, and I both know Crystal, and Crystal and I met at the Island School when I worked in the Bahamas for a few years. And and I know you and Crystal kind of met one of the expeditions.
Yeah.
Both very involved with ocean plastic work, which is really cool. And and then Carolyn did the 2-month coaching program with me, and then the monthly accountability support. So, and I was trying to remember like when exactly when we connected. I think it was last summer. So it's actually, it's been a good amount of time, which has been awesome. And and I wanted to chat with you today. I really enjoy doing these interviews. I think it's a good way to showcase people who have, spent a lot of time in the field they're in, they're passionate about, they're interested in, and, then they kind of want to do something else, whether, start a small business or a program in your situation. And I think it's cool to see people who have spent years and years and like develop their expertise, their skill sets, and have a network, and then they have something they're really passionate about. And for you, it's largely the ocean plastic pollution world. And I just thought you're such a great example. And after I know you now too, with working together, such a great example of someone who has really taken their idea and made it a reality. And it's been really cool to watch that process. And now I know it's picking up. You had a couple of clients you worked with in your beta program, and now you have a couple more signing on. And yeah, and I just also, Carolyn and I both have, the work I used to do was largely in sustainability, ocean conservation worlds. When I was down in the Bahamas, I was teaching diving, so free diving, scuba diving, and then teaching environmental science. So it's also a passion of mine, and it's really cool to be able to help somebody who is in that field and, creating something. So yeah.
Great.
Cool. So you ready to get started?
I'm ready.
I'm getting hot. I didn't want to have the windows open and have all this background noise, but it's getting hot over here in DC now. So.
Oh, nice. Not yet here.
So the first question I want to start off with was kind of what initially got you interested in the ocean plastic conservation work? Because I know you've had kind of a long career in it, and it's, you've shifted and pivoted in it. So what originally sparked that interest or that passion to start?
Okay. For me, I think the ocean conservation work really started when I was in Santa Cruz. So I went to school in Santa Cruz, where I studied geology. So I was really focused on how beaches, beach processes and how beaches work, and how the ocean in general is impacting the shoreline. And what I realized, I was living over on the west side in Santa Cruz, pretty close to Westcliff. And as we'd walk or run down Westcliff, you would see these little pocket beaches filling with big boulders. So it's riprap revetments. These are rocks that are basically controlling erosion. But it was just heartbreaking because it would be covering an entire beach. So it was, the beach access wasn't there any longer, and just the beach in general that we all, potentially looked at or sat on or, enjoyed was gone. And so that mixed along with, so beach access has sort of been the beginning of sort of my activism around conservation stuff. And just the fact that it's, a small community of people living along Westcliff or in Santa Cruz in general near the coast, but tons and tons of people come to the beach, and it's like, what beaches can they go to? So it's just an interesting, equality as well. Like, it brings in lots of different angles. So anyways, that's sort of where the activism started. And it kind of lit a fire under me. And then I decided to go to grad school to study more of the policy side. And then all along this time, I've been involved with Surfrider Foundation doing beach cleanups, and they focused a lot on beach access as well. So the plastic pollution sort of focus began probably after, when I was back in San Francisco. I was, so this was after grad school, so 2005, 2006, I was really hearing about ocean plastic. It was becoming something that you'd show up in, maybe more the environmental world, but it was starting to get talked about. It was, and, Charlie Moore and Anna and Marcus from Gyres started getting momentum. So I was curious. And at the time, it was hard to imagine the issue of trash being so bad that it was, happening in our ocean. So it was curiosity, I think, that was driving me in the beginning. And again, I think it's back to this, things being even, or it's just, the ocean should be healthy for everyone. So it was that sort of mentality. And then the more and more I've learned about it, obviously now we're all learning, where does our trash actually go? We ship it to other countries. So those types of concepts are just, it's hard to hear. And it's, those are the realities that really drive, behind the ocean conservation. But then also with the 5 Gyres sort of mentality, it was like this huge adventure and this huge exploration that was really like driving what I wanted to do. And so that's when I made the change from my very office, government state job to like, wow, I want to be part of that team that goes out and explores, and I joined, these expeditions that were crazy, really. I mean, some people were really worried about me. So,
Yeah, that was one of the questions. I could skip ahead. It was just, what I think for you, your story is cool, and I know that you'll explain more with your connector program.
Yeah.
But shifting from a more traditional setting to kind of doing that more badass expedition, getting out in the field, sailing, and doing more adventurous work, but combining that also with the intentional piece of, citizen awareness or the policy, bringing up anything that could help with campaigns. And so it's sort of cool to see how that segue from the government, more traditional setting, and how that you shifted into a non-traditional work setting.
Yeah.
In terms of society.
It's true. And I got a lot of, comments and opinions about that because, working a state job is a pretty secure, they pay pretty well, and you have great health insurance and great benefits. So it's, those are, and it's comfortable. And so it's a little scary to take that sort of chance, And I kept telling myself, I'll just always go back. If it's not going to work out, I can go back to the more traditional jobs. But thankfully I'm on this journey that it's, working out. And now I'm even taking, changed it up again from working from a nonprofit to working for myself. So, it's about every 10 years, I got to switch it up,
Yeah. Every 10-year mark.
Or every 5 years, I guess. I don't know, it seems like that. So it's exciting.
Well, I was going to ask, why has doing ocean plastic, because there's so many different things you could do in the ocean conservation world. And I feel like definitely in my experience in the Bahamas, working in that school, it was so, everything we talked, breathed, lived was ocean conservation, and ocean plastic was, one element of it. We saw some issues with trash on the island. I mean, especially islands, there's just definitely this mentality of, where do we put all the trash, and not having the system set up. So I was curious, why is doing ocean plastic work specifically been so meaningful for you?
Yeah. So in the beginning, I was part of the early expeditions with 5 Gyres that was really out there exploring the issue for the first time in many cases. So we were crossing oceans on these expeditions to understand where the material was accumulating. So what was floating on the surface of the ocean, and a lot of these currents are pushing this into these accumulation areas. So we were trying to pass through that to see how dense the plastic was. So it was really exciting. We had a lot of people following these trips and sort of and wanting the research. And really what they wanted that data for was to pass plastic bag bans, and other types of policy that would limit single-use plastic. So it was really, in the beginning, these plastic bag bans that were largely started along California coast. There was a lot of work happening, which, there were several different groups working on the ground in California that we were really bringing and helping support with data. So it was a very cool sort of, support system, or just, we were just all working together to try to make this happen. So there was a lot of excitement, and there was a lot of just curiosity, like I said before, curiosity, which seems to be something that drives me, honestly. And then seeing the positive sort of impact that even just myself can have on a community, like my friends and my, people really want to talk about the issue. Because once you learn about the issue of plastic pollution and how it's connected to you and what we do in our homes or what we do in our communities, then people are like, why is it this way? Why aren't we designing products different? So it's sort of just a logical next step, which is, you know, we all continue to ask this question of why are we creating so much plastic? So it's a conversation starter, and it's been so interesting to shift through my career because, you know, coastal erosion for me was super interesting, and I could talk about it a lot, but no one really wanted to talk about it, you know. I mean, my general community. But once I got into plastic pollution, it was like everyone wanted to talk about it. So it was building on this momentum that was, you know, kind of starting to go in the news. So yeah, that drove me in the beginning, and now I think it's just right and wrong sometimes for what, you know, drives me. It's like, this is just absurd that we can't like, everyone always says, oh, not everyone, but a lot of the media or just people who aren't in the movement say, but we recycle. It's just not true. None of our plastic is really recycled. There's a small percentage of it. So it's pretty much down to right and wrong. And the fact that we do ship our trash traditionally or historically to other areas, or if you see where, you know, plastic is made in what communities and how it impacts the communities, those types of details are, you know, quite important and, you know, impact quite a lot of people. So that's, you know, a lot of what's driving me now. But yeah, but in the beginning, I think it was quite, you know, a lot of personal exploration as well. So
yeah, so there's this whole equity piece to it.
That
people, so I mean the places I've been, if traveling to different tropical places, it is in places, you know, that are maybe less developed, or there's more poverty, and the plastic waste just builds up.
Yeah, I mean, all these, you know, just tourism alone, it's like all of us, you know, are lucky enough to have traveled, and or many of us, and we travel somewhere, we generate a lot of waste, but what is that community supposed to do with our waste? And so, you know, in the Bahamas, like you're saying, it's like there's burning of the trash for the most part, and that's not good for the local community or the kids.
Yeah.
So yeah. That is, it's a, you know, and the movement has began to really focus on that as well. So that's what, you know, we're trying to get out to everyone, is that's the concept that we all need to think about when we're driving for change and innovation. And then I'm also involved in some of the innovation, which is also really exciting. So like, how can we address the problem, and what kind of solutions can we look at? So.
Right. So why, for you, I know you've kind of shifted in the last year out of, you said, your nonprofit work, you're making changes.
Yeah.
And I know for you, you know, it was a number of different reasons, but why has it been so important for you to create your own program, or, you know, create your own work?
Yeah. Well, I guess it was more than a couple of years ago, I started Goods Holding Company with a friend of mine and a colleague, but another woman named Eva Holman. And so we started Goods Holding Company as sort of a side hustle. It continues to be a small company that's sort of sustaining itself and hopefully growing. COVID has been quite difficult on small businesses, especially small businesses that are focused around reuse, which has been sort of on hold through COVID. But realizing that along was something that I really wanted to think about more and have more time for, along with just wanting to have other types of projects. That's really where I realized that I wanted to work for myself and sort of choose projects that had maybe more variety or more I guess, just focused on the issue a little bit differently. And then the expedition sort of lifestyle is extremely fast paced, and, you know, I was gone quite a bit, and it's really, really exciting and fun. But I was, you know, after I've done, I think it's 12 really big expeditions, it's just, you know, it's a lot. It's because I think it was just, I wanted to bring it local and focus a bit more on, you know, different projects. So We did focus on, or with Five Gyres, I did a 3-year project called the San Francisco Bay Microplastics Project. And there, I realized how much interest in the Bay Area, we got so much amazing feedback from that project. So the project was really focusing on, I know you know this, Rachel, but I'll tell others. The project focused on, pathways and sources. So like, how is the plastic getting in the Bay, and where is the plastic coming from? And then what kind of recommendations can we make based on the science for the Bay Area or the state of California to think about solutions. So, and it's just been incredible with how many people we worked with. And so through that process, I made a lot of new connections. And it was really exciting to hear about the projects and all this innovation that's going on right here in San Francisco, but also, around the US or world. And so through that, I met a woman named Crystal Moody Wood, who has a company called Material Evolve. And so we started focusing on microfiber work, which is what one of the buckets of work that I'm doing is microfiber focus, which is a lot of microfiber pollution our research showed a lot of microfiber pollution. It's a new issue at the moment. And so microfibers are coming off our clothes, off textiles, in our homes, from our carpets. And it's a little unclear exactly the pathways, but they're entering through our wastewater, so down our showers, down our wash machines, airborne. So they're pretty much everywhere. So we're trying to understand that and then think about solutions. So it's been pretty exciting work. It's a certain niche, but I'm working on that on some projects. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That is it. Yeah, that does seem, I mean, I know there was some talk before, but the whole idea of waste, or like throwing your clothes in the washing machine and then, pieces of your clothing are
Yeah.
off and ending in the ocean, and it's nuts how much work there is with that.
Yeah. And then it goes back to the equity piece too, because, most of fast fashion is made of the synthetics, and that's what most people can afford. And so you can't blame it on, you have to blame it on the companies. They need to, or maybe not blame it, but encourage companies to work towards solutions and think about products that don't shed as much, and not create products that are not going to last that long, even if they are at a different price point. So that's, it's been pretty exciting. There's lots of companies the textile industry has already been thinking about all of this for a long time. So it's been great to sort of bridge these worlds and work together with them. So
that is cool. That's very cool. So I guess I wanted to talk a bit about where you were and what did it look like when you were at the beginning stages of your connector program.
Yeah.
So, or if you want to go into just giving people an overview of what that is now, and then sort of where you were, or just where you were at the beginning with the idea, and then kind of what was the turning point with making that a reality.
Well, I think you actually are the person that helped me figure out that was an option and an idea, which was pretty amazing to have that come out of the work with you. So I think some of the activities that I ended up working through with you were really, I can kind of think of a few that really started that. And so I was in Tahoe because I spent a lot of time in Tahoe last summer. And I was having to draw myself, I think. And it was like drawing myself with my values, like exploring, curiosity, all these different so what I looked like. And then what would someone who's an ocean connector look like? And so the idea, I think, really came when you think about these expeditions that I've been part of for so long, is we would bring all these amazing, interesting, people together, coming at the issue from different angles. But the best part of the expeditions, in my opinion, obviously the research was super important, but then what would come out is all these new friendships and also like colleagues that would work together on projects. And so those projects were it was amazing to watch that happen. And then what I noticed is, that whole community would get connected with other communities that had been, or other groups on the expedition. So that was my favorite part of the expedition and sort of my work in general over the last 10 years. And so that was sort of the beginning of what could I do around sort of connecting? And so this Ocean Connector program, which is designed to help individuals who are making a change or out of undergrad or grad school and trying to build opportunities or experience in the ocean space. How do you get the experience that you need or make the connections or figure out what kind of job you exactly want, and then get there. And so I think just with my journey, on my own, I do have experience doing that. I mean, I made myself get on that expedition in some ways. I was a little like governmenty about it. I like made sent them my resume and they're like, who is this girl? Because at the time it wasn't quite that same process. It was like, hey, I want to come out there and be your research assistant. So I was really kind of emailing Anna and Marcus quite a bit saying, hey, I have the experience, what does it look like to join? And so those are the types of things that you can make the connection and then sort of build that relationship and do the networking that you need to do. And it's been really great to work with some of these recent clients to learn what kind of comes naturally to different people. And so and then sort of just walking through those steps to network or to build your own new connections. And obviously I also have some connections that I can also introduce people. And so it's been pretty neat to take what I really liked and then build something around it. So
Right. Yeah. And just something that you were, it seems like it feels really natural for you.
Yeah.
You have a very big network. So when you were like, I have some people, I'm like, okay, you have a lot of people you're connected with, with so many years in that field. And
Yeah.
then, seeing, and then I think having your own experience of, leaving sort of the more traditional government area and making your own path to figure out, how do I get to, okay, I want to work with 5 Gyres, or I want to do work like that. How can I get there? Do I need to volunteer? Do I need to network? What kind of certifications do I need? And I think it's cool because you kind of have seen this sort of gap between people, who want to break into that field, or maybe they're in it and they want to take it a step further, the sustainability, ocean conservation, especially on the West Coast. I mean, I feel like on the West Coast, it's, people are really excited about that stuff. And there's a lot of people, especially in universities, there are a lot of programs focused on topics.
And it's really interesting because a lot of times there's not the right connections happening between the different people working on the issue. So, that's something through that San Francisco Bay microplastics projects that we really saw is like the textile industry is already doing a lot of work. We just need to make those connections. And, a lot of science is happening within universities that is sort of just happening and not getting talked about enough from, the, let's say, plastic pollution movement. So it's really making those connections to make sure that everyone knows what everyone's doing. And then in doing that, you have this, large network, and you build your network. And it's, not just the scientists, maybe it's the groups that are focusing on innovation. So like thinking about how to change or clothing or change single-use plastics and reuse systems. So it ends up being a huge group of people if you start broadening, and thinking about solutions. It includes a lot of different groups. So
yeah, that makes sense. And
yeah,
something else well, I guess I wanted to ask, where are you now with your journey with the connector programs? Catch people up on.
Yeah, it's been exciting. So I actually finally announced it,
Yes.
which, took a while because the Ocean Connector program is a bit different than my traditional work. So I think I have had some fears, I suppose, around sort of jumping into that. And it's, let's see, so where am I at right now? I've just finished a a beta program. So that's basically testing it out with a few different people. And then now I have some clients that I'm working with to, that are part of the official program. So it's, it's still, I guess, early in the journey, but this is not something that's completely different than what I've done in the past. It's just dedicating more time to an individual's sort of desire, what they want, and thinking about it more than you might. Because I've done lots of connecting throughout my career, which is, what I do. But then, spending hours and hours with one person to figure out exactly where they want to go and what they want to do is, you get to know the person really well, and then, or at least professionally, and then you can help them on their own journey. And so, yeah, I'm actively looking for a couple more people to work with. And I hope that, so far it's been, Crystal Ocean just joined. Hey. So it's been really great to,
Hi, Crystal.
Hi, Crystal. That's who we
earlier, but
yeah. So anyways, it's been, it's great to see it working, because with the people that I've worked with, one in particular, wanted to work in the microplastics sort of world in sort of the lab space in California, which is, my network is pretty large for that. So it was really great to help her network and build new connections. And she ended up getting a job in Southern California. So it's been great to watch her and, celebrate the journey she's now on. And so that was good, I guess, sort of encouragement for the program for myself. So I felt like, oh, wow, this is, this can really work and is really helpful to people. So.
Right. Yeah. And I wanted to add to that, because I know this is something, when we talked a lot about strengths, but you were sort of already doing a lot of this, and it was something that natural people would, connect with you in that way for that help. And so kind of the way I've seen it is the way it's developed just turned into something more organized and structured. And now you're not just having a quick one-on call with somebody and then they're off and you don't know what happens.
Yeah.
So it's more of a, that's still that connector piece, and then taking them on a journey, and how do you really help them get set up in a career, or even, initially whatever makes the most sense for them in that next step. And so that was kind of my next question, talking about, how did learning about your strengths help you with creating your program?
Yeah, I mean, I think if we can think about back to those certain programs or those, activities that I was doing with you, which, I loved the activities. I love, the homework that you gave me, and, these, thought you have to really think about what drives the work you're doing, and what comes naturally to you, or what, doesn't come naturally, and focus on, how to, what you want to focus on. So, let's see. So you wanted me to say, or to go into my strengths.
See your strengths.
Okay. So yeah. I think for me, obviously connecting, and I also think kind of investigating and problem solving is something that I really enjoy doing. And I think even with like the expeditions, that was a lot of what was driving me, is like, oh, I have to figure out all these details and get all, fill the boat with, individuals, and how do we do that? And so it was really, it's just what was driving me. And so I continue to get to do that through this work, because I learn about what a person is trying to do and who they want to meet, or what they want to, what they want to focus on. And then it's coming up with ideas of how to make that happen. And so that's a little bit more of that problem solving. And then it's obviously connecting. And I really like connecting between different fields as well. I think that's, if we're going to work towards solutions, it needs to be, a lot of different types of people talking and thinking about an issue to really work get somewhere or to get to new places. And so I like that's what our expeditions at Five Gyres, or that's what a lot of the Five Gyres expeditions have done, is brought, a big group of people together with different backgrounds. And so that's, as we see the movement growing in general, and we see the plastic pollution movement, reaching these new fields, it's just, that's so important, is connecting between the program. So I think those were really, some of the things that were the program was based on for me.
Right. Yeah. And I think for you, at least just from what I've seen, is that networking, connecting thing is just so real to you that it's, it's something you're energized and excited about.
Yeah.
You're doing this. It doesn't feel like a drain, or,
Yeah.
side of your skill set, and then having to do something that might feel like, oh, this isn't really, I don't love doing this. So I think that was one of the cool things, is seeing how your program developed, was out of basically things that I think you already had strengths in, and now you're kind of structured it in a way where you're able to help other people.
And you get to focus a bit more on that than all the other, a lot of other things as well, which we can't choose everything we work on all the time. Yeah. But it's pretty neat to, it's great to be able to design a program that really kind of lifts up my strengths, and then, hopefully it's, something that is helping others, which I think it is. So.
Yeah, definitely. So what has helped you, and I know this is something and it's not, a lot of people I've worked with, the confidence piece comes up a lot.
Yeah.
I remember you at the beginning, like, I that was something for you, is the confidence piece, and you're not alone in that. I mean, everyone struggles with that, especially, but I was curious, what has helped you with your confidence to pursue your goals? Because I know you say, oh, I'm not that confident in some ways, but then you see what you've done, and you've done all these like badass expeditions, and, you started your own small company. And so, we all experience that. And I was curious what has helped you kind of continue when those.
Yeah. Well, definitely the work that I've been doing with you has helped. And you reiterate, I think for me, this, starting something a little, especially the Ocean Connector program, is something that's a bit different. And so having the confidence to kind of launch something that's different has been a little bit of a struggle for me, just because I'm sometimes worried, what others will think about the program. But I think what's helped me is some advice that you've given me, and, sort of generally, I think I've done throughout my career, is really focusing on people who are supporting you. And, there's some people that, you come up with all these great ideas, and it's like, they'll go along with you, they'll support you. And so I think, those people in particular, my sister and a friend of mine, named Robin, in my neighborhood, it's like those individuals who you kind of make weekly meetings with is something that you've taught me, is, that builds you up. And so I have lots of support throughout my friends and my community, but it's like kind of targeting a couple people to really, who want to spend the time to sort of hack it, and think about it a little more. So that's helped me with my confidence, to get, especially with this Ocean Connector program specifically. With the, in general, I think it's hard sometimes, just, you get nervous. I personally just get nervous with, what others might think. And so it's just an interest, it's just the way I'm wired. And so it's something that I work on personally. And it's like, some people don't care, and some people, which is awesome. So
I think anytime you're starting a small business, a project, there's always that, the initial risk taking factor.
Yeah.
And you really need to have some buddies who are like, let's do this.
Yeah, you got this. It's a good idea.
It's
and if it's not, it's okay. It's fine. Yeah, you're doing it.
I do think, yes, support is huge. And I know you have a couple of people in your life that have been really good about, you can go to them for ideas, and they're constantly encouraging. And I do think you're right, that goes a long way. And And then, talking about fears, I think anybody who's trying to do things outside the box a little bit, launching their own thing, project, program, their fears are going to constantly come up. And I was curious, what has helped you work around those when they do come up, or
Yeah.
what have been your biggest fears that that.
Yeah, I mean, um, my biggest fear most recently has been just how much of an impact can this program do? And then is this basically, if you're going to spend time working on something, is this what you want to spend time working on? So that's really something that I think about. But for the program itself, my fears have been really, I guess I have self-doubt a bit about, will people want to do this? And then also, well, what will others think in sort of my community, my professional community of something like this? It's because it is, different. Though it's not really that different, but it's named a bit differently. It's a different technique, it's just more time doing what I already did, but for, individuals. So, I think, fear is an interesting, something that can creep up. And I've had, even with my more sort of report writing and, different things like that. I mean, I have similar fears that come up. It's like, what is this good enough? And so those types of fears are things that you just have to kind of put in check. And, you can put them in check by getting support from others to make sure, what your journey is, they're supporting your journey as well, or they're, supporting your report or looking at you got to have some people that you work with and bounce ideas off of. So that helps fear go away, really, for me at least.
Having those conversations with people. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, if you're bringing up an idea and you're in conversation and someone else is excited about it, or maybe you do bring up a fear and they're like seeing it from a less emotionally attached perspective, and they're like, no, I don't think that's that big of a deal. And
it's like, for me, if the report something was wrong, you just fix it. And it's like, it's true, actually. So, it doesn't always have to be this big deal. And it's like, that's something nice that other people can reiterate. So.
Right. And so, now that we've worked together, I guess it's been 6 months now. I don't know the exact amount, which has been so fun. Thanks to Crystal. And, I was curious what advice you would give someone at the beginning stages of their progress. So maybe someone who's nervous, kind of like where you were, nervous to get started, kind of wanting a change, but not really knowing where to begin.
Yeah. Well, I think the idea of a career coach, or someone to support you and dedicate time to help you sort of navigate through what you want to do or what you're already doing and what you want to focus on has really been obviously helpful for me. So that was something that I hadn't had a career coach yet. I hadn't done any coaching. So it was really, actually, that's not true. I'd done some coaching with another friend of mine, which was really helpful to help me with the transition of sort of phasing out of 5 Gyres. Right. So it was, but it was really amazing to do, to have the support. And you can get the support, obviously, from an organized program like I did with you. And then also, like what I was saying with surrounding yourself with people that can sort of build you up. But it's a lot different, to work with someone like you, where you kind of dedicate your time or our time to what I'm doing moving forward. That's not how conversations always happen with your friends and your colleagues. It's a lot more dedicated on, hey, what kind of values do you, like I was saying, all the activities, and then we talk about it for a long, an hour or whatever it was, an hour and a half. So it was, that was just really great for me. So I think finding people that can help support you is really, was really helpful for me. And then also, you know, being confident in where you want to go. I feel like if you have a drive to do something, it's like you've got that drive, do it, you know, or if you want to pursue it. And it's, you know, okay to not have it be absolutely amazing if it doesn't end up being amazing, but it probably will be. But
Right. Yeah. So, I always like using this analogy of having sort of a spider web of,
yeah,
your support system, because you can get, like you said, you can get it from a coach, but you can also get it from friends, colleagues, maybe a parent, a spouse, partner, and I think it's important to surround yourself with people who are invested and want to help you,
yeah, and
and
it's
investing in yourself too. So whatever that
yeah,
is, like self-care or hiring someone to help or whatever that looks like, I
yeah,
think investing in yourself and your dream is important.
yeah. And I always find it so sort of, well, it's inspiring and just, you know, people are kind. They want to, you know, for the most part, you know, people are interested in what you want to do, and you know, if they can help, they'll help. So I think, you know, that's something, you know, as I'm helping people connect, it's like, you know, those are the people you want to figure out, you know, network with, is, you know,
Right.
the ones who are excited to help and excited to, you know, move an idea along or want to be part of it. So
Right. So I wanted to hear more about, or maybe you can just share with people who is somebody that would really benefit from your Ocean Connector program right now? Like, and I know you have a lot of good information on your website and under your Ocean Connector tab,
mm-hmm.
but if you were to kind of just explain, who is it that this is going to really help benefit, and where's their start and end journey? Like, what are you kind of helping them get to?
Yeah. Well, I think the sort of the target people might be people who are in or are probably people in a transition. But I've now figured out that it's not only those people, but so people just graduating from college, or making a career change, or just graduated from grad school, and they're looking for a certain ocean oriented or sustainable experience or job. And so those, and wanting to build a network, or they have a job that's not quite the one they want, and they're trying to make that shift to a more sustainable focused job, or, you know, an ocean focused job, or ocean conservation focused job. But I've also sort of realized that it could be someone from one field or one aspect of, you know, working in from one angle, wanting to network among and build their network with other individuals, like more scientists in their
Mm-hmm.
sort of community. So it's that's one of my recent clients. Is we're gonna, you know, we're working on building. She's already sort of in the space, but coming from a different angle. But how does she build more connections throughout all of the different sort of stakeholders, or, you know, areas that are related to plastic pollution? So I think that's also someone that could be beneficial from the program.
Right. So somebody maybe earlier on in their career, either finishing undergrad or entry level, or finishing a master's, and they want to um, figure out a way to, because I know we talked about this a lot, how, especially in this field, you kind of have to get creative, right? With
Mm-hmm.
how you get experience, how you connect with people. Maybe the best way isn't to just apply, send your resume and hope for the best.
Yeah.
A lot of it is, figuring out, I think, getting creative, I think is the
Yeah.
way I would see it, is how do you set yourself up to, either pivot, transition, or grow your network, or really gain experience in that field. And I think what with your story, a lot of that for you came easy because you just saw, oh, I could do this opportunity, I could connect with these people, I
Mm-hmm.
can network, I can volunteer here, and all this will lead me to where I want to be. And I think some people get stuck in that,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to navigate through this because it's not the traditional job path, pattern that most people would take. And So I think that's kind of what makes your program unique, is your help guiding them through a process that, you know, it was intuitive for you, but maybe can be quite challenging for other people.
Yeah.
It's not what we're taught. It's not what we're told in school or in jobs or just in general. You know, how do you find a job? And I think it's cool that you're sort of teaching people and helping people to do it in a different way, and you found success in yourself with your, you know, your own experiences. So
Yeah, no, I think it's, you know, it's pretty exciting. So it's, you know, it's good to look at it. So,
and is there anything else that, so any other work that you're doing now that's sort of you're excited about that overlaps with the connector program and kind of adds to your
yeah,
there?
I would say, so I sort of have, you've helped me figure this out, but I have three buckets of work that I'm sort of focused on. And so I have my more sort of traditional professional sort of microfiber work, which is, it's plastic pollution work in general, but lately it's been focused on on fibers.
Yeah.
And so I'm continuing to do through that some expedition work. Obviously, with COVID, that's put a huge sort of damper on expeditions, but we are seeing things opening up. So the expedition sort of experience is something that I hope to continue doing into the future. You know, I that was my original plan when I made the transition from Gyres, but COVID put quite a bit of stops to that.
COVID
So
right.
yeah, so I still am like professionally quite connected, I guess is where I'm getting. So I have that, and then the Ocean Connector program, and then I have a small, my business, goods holding company, which connects me to a different angle, but it's the, you know, all of the small businesses, especially in California, that are creating reuse and helping people live, you know, low waste, plastic free. So it's great to have these different angles that I'm working on. I'm trying to figure out how to live this where you have different sort of compartments, but they're all connected, but making it so that my lifestyle is not completely chaotic. So it's, you know, that for me, that's been really, you know, I'm setting up my sort of work life balance a little differently than it was in the past. So it's, but it's so far I'm really enjoying having these three different sort of focus areas, and they obviously are all quite connected as well.
Right.
So
It seems, I mean, what we've talked about too is that it seems to connect you with like so many different people, and then
yeah,
you know, especially your goods holding. You said you've met so many people in that field and
yeah,
learning about different companies and businesses, and so I think it also adds to this strength of yours where you know you want to continue
yeah,
networking and build your network. I think that will ultimately help anybody who's coming into your program. Really, you know, you're kind of really aware of what's going on and continuing to, it's not just relying on your past experiences, but staying really up to date with what's going on
yeah,
and learning. And now you're in the microfiber plastic world where that's kind of the new, where some of the new studies and research are going. So
yeah. You know, I like to stay connected with that community as well, and I am passionate about it. So it's working out. So I'm well, hopefully it continues to work out. But yeah, I really do, you know, as the theme of today is connecting. So that is really what kind of drives me. So
yeah.
keeping that network sort of growing for myself is also really important. And so those are the different ways that I can continue to grow my own personal network.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm so glad we get to do this. And I'm so excited that you have shared your Ocean Connector program more thoroughly here. I feel like so many people, I mean, I wish if I was thinking back to when I was in my early 20s trying to figure how the fuck to like navigate, you know, the field of trial and error and where do I get job experience? How do I get my foot in the door? That sort of thing. I really think it would have helped. So I'm
Great.
excited to see, you know, it grow. And you know, how many people, especially now that things will be opening up more.
I know, it's exciting.
Yes. Be more
Yeah.
opportunities. So yeah. Thank you again for doing that.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It was nice to see you.
Yeah, you too.
And I'm sure
We'll
I will
talk.
see you soon.
Yeah. We'll talk
All
soon. Thanks
right.
everyone who tuned in.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thanks.